Eastern Canada is more at risk of earthquakes than perceived, contrary to popular belief. Many times I've told you I used to live in Montreal because I'm also Canadian. My parents were architects, and the soil there is so soft. They used to tell me that as many floors as you have above ground, you have to have that many basements. This is the skyline of Montreal, so you can understand how soft the area is there. It's so soft that when it rains, our basements used to flood. Can you imagine when the snows used to melt? It was amazing. But anyway, yes, we do have, and we're going to take a look at the map of the Canadian earthquake maps, and you'll see the West Coast, but of course East Coast as well. And let's keep in mind that that's an area of the extension of the New Madrid seismic zone, and that's the St. Lawrence River on the east, cutting all the way in, and as you go towards the United States, it becomes the Mississippi, and that's supposed to be a New Madrid seismic rift zone. They call it New Madrid seismic zone, but it's actually a rift zone. So you can see there's a number of earthquakes there. The USGS doesn't show it on their map, but okay, we have the Canadian earthquake map showing the activity there. And there are those that say that there used to be they used to be anyway, an ancient supervolcano the size of Yellowstone there. Maine itself has 5 volcanoes in a 100-mile radius. Okay, so we do have seismic activity on the East Coast. Now, most Canadians believe that the greatest national risk of a devastating earthquake lies on the west coast of Canada in British Columbia, above Oregon. The whole Pacific Northwest coast, with its rugged topography and history of the San Francisco-Los Angeles earthquakes farther south, is what typically comes to mind when we talk about the big one and has yet to hit, and we want to change that perception while there's time. A closer look at the complex factors at play, both under and on the Earth's surface, show that some of the worst risk is actually where Canadians are probably least expecting it, in a zone running from the Great Lakes to the St. Lawrence River on the east. That includes major cities like Toronto, Hamilton, Ottawa, Montreal, and even Quebec City. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Experience preparedness. It's true that some faults that put California and parts of the west coast of the United States at risk also make British Columbia a serious earthquake concern. The notorious Pacific Ring of Fire, where massive tectonic plates are constantly threatening to reshape the landscape as they shift, collide, and overlap, is aptly named. It's safe to say coastal British Columbia has a culture of earthquakes readiness. People on the west coast are much more aware and better prepared than people on the east. They're familiar with emergency protocols, and many keep a survival kit handy in case a quick exit becomes necessary. Seismic monitoring is abundant, and far more buildings are designed to retrofitted to mitigate the potential for serious earthquake damage. This is not the case, though, in southern Ontario and southwestern Quebec, even though the risk is significant, as more than half of Canadian population live on this vulnerable corridor in the east. What is the source of this complacency? Understanding risk, it's likely it has to do with the type of risk. In eastern Canada, the threat is not directly from the interplay between plates of the Earth as it is in the west. In Ontario and Canada, the risk is from the less sexy but still deadly intraplate activity, seismic activity that occurs in the middle of tectonic plates that are not directly associated with plate boundaries. And as we said before, it's the extension of the New Madrid seismic zone, which is a rift area, a rift fault there. Now, interplate areas also have faults, some dating as far back as the formation of the continents, can be reactivated under certain stresses, such as when pressure on the edges of plates thousands of kilometers away push on them, causing them to move. Lines of weakness dating back millions of years can become hazardous again when new stresses come into play. When the last of the glaciers receded about 11,000 years ago, for example, their massive weight left the Earth's surface dented. That's a long time to us, but it's a snap in the fingers in geological time. In places where the ground has not yet popped back up into place, it's overdue to do just that, potentially violently pushing people, buildings, and infrastructure out of the way. Earthquakes happen all the time in Canada. There are about 4,000 every year, most of them too small or too remote to notice, but from time to time there are much stronger quakes. A disproportionate number of those have happened in eastern Canada, especially in the Ottawa Valley and western St. Lawrence Valley, in seismic zones that include Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, but also farther west in the highly populated seismic zones of the lower Great Lakes. That's where we have the Coenan Fault, and there's magma under there in the shape of a horseshoe, and the geologists don't know where that magma is coming from, but it's been there for about 1 billion years. Now, we are not the first to suggest these hazards in Ontario and Quebec, and they need more attention, but our recent research confirms these risks are real and the threat is imminent. Reading the landscape, in Canada, there is not a very long record of instrument recording seismological activity, especially in the eastern region, but we do have abundant physical evidence of significant earthquakes from the past, which still remains the best predictor of future events. The bottoms of major lakes in Ontario and Quebec, for example, provide a significant and still visible record of sediment upheaval that could only have been caused by major earthquakes long before humans settled in this area. As scientists, we feel bound not to panic anyone unduly. At the same time, we feel a duty to offer warnings where they are needed, and this is certainly one of those instances. The risk in eastern Canada has less to do with magnitude, which can be measured on the familiar Richter scale, and more with vulnerability. A lower magnitude quake that strikes in a vulnerable area, such as a densely populated city like Montreal, can still be catastrophic, especially if it happens at the wrong time of day, such as rush hour or in the middle of the night. Predicting the timing of earthquakes is still beyond the reach of science, and even if we know precisely when and where a quake was coming, there would still be nothing we can do to stop it. What we can do is take action to mitigate harm from seismic events through infrastructure design, buildings that is, pinpointing more specific areas of heightened risk through research and making sure that resources, including insurance, are available for recovery. In Canada, most of the anticipation of big earthquake focuses on the Pacific coast, and we'd like everyone to add the Great Lakes and Western St. Lawrence region to that mental file and just to be ready. Now let's take a look at some of the GPS stations in that area, see what kind of deformation and activity is going on there. So here we are on Geodesy, and I'll leave a link below for you for this map. This shows all the GPS stations in the world, and we're looking at the United States and Canada. Okay, let's go to the eastern seaboard right here. We did take a look at Hudson Bay, one of my past videos, and we saw that there was deformation and movement all over the place here. Inflation, deflation, going left, right, northwest, southeast, it's everywhere. But there's hardly anybody living there. Now let's go to the major areas here in the east that have most of the population of Canada. Canada only has a total of 60 million people. It was 10 million when I was living there. I used to live in Montreal. Let's go back to moving in. Let's go to, this is Ottawa. Let's go to Ottawa. Around there. See what's happening there. Oh, that's very nice. Nice and strong movement, as you can see. Okay, this is the east graph. If it goes up, it means it's going east. It's not going east, it's going west. This is the north graph. If it's going up, it's going north very strongly, and it's inflating. It's inflating. So it's going north, west, and it's inflating. This area, this is QCLP just above Ottawa. Okay, let's go to Quebec now. Quebec. Okay, again, it's going northwest, and it's all over the place. Inflating, deflating, inflating, deflating. This is since 2018. You can see the amount of movement is tremendous here. Okay, that's on the St. Lawrence there. Let's go to Montreal, closer to Montreal. There's Montreal somewhere in there. They have a lot of, okay, let's go in there. Okay, Montreal. Let's take this one, East Montreal. Okay, again, it's going northwest, and it's inflating. Northwest and inflating. Let's go to another one, to the other side of Montreal, to the west, Montreal west. Northwest, and less of an inflation. So, let's go lower towards New York State. Okay, let's go there. Okay, that's going northwest. Inflating very nicely. That's upstate New York. And let's go towards Lake Ontario, upstate New York. Okay, again, it's going northwest. And this one is steady. And as we said before, this is the Queen in Fault that has the horse-shaped magma plume underneath. This, like this. Let's take one around Lake Michigan. This one here. What's happening there? That's not good. We will not take that one. That's not good. Let's take this one. Lake Superior. Let's take Lake Superior. Okay, that's going northwest, inflating lately. This is 2000. Northwest inflate. Let's go to Hudson Bay. This area, James Bay. Basically inflating. Basically inflating the same directions. Okay, again inflating. And let's go to this one here on the west of Hudson Bay. Oh, here we go. It's going southwest and really inflating. So these areas down here are going northwest, this is going southwest. You can see that there's a lot of movement in various directions there around Hudson Bay. Very strange, very strange. Okay, so that's what's going on there. I'll leave a link below. You can check the GPS and movement and deformation in your areas. But for most part, it's inflating here, as we saw before. Let's take Maine. Let's go to Maine. As we said before, we have 5 volcanoes there. Okay, where's Maine? Here we are. Maine. Okay, let's take this one. Okay, that's going northwest. And it's pretty steady. I don't know what, maybe they recalibrated the machine there. Let's go to another one in Maine. This one here. It's going northwest and it's steady. Let's take another one. Northwest. And another one, yet another one. This one here. Northwest and steady. So that's the movement in that area. In general, Montreal in that area is inflating. Let's take one more. Northwest and inflating, as you can see. Okay, so all of you on the Eastern Seaboard, please be very, very careful. Thank you for your support. Please leave your comments. Thank you.